Well, hello there. It is me back for season 2 of Survivor. That's right. I'm going to give you the breakdown and tell you what I thought of each player from this season. And before we get started, I just want to say a couple things. One, sorry about the light again. I did not find a better spot. Um, the problem is my room is so dark that I need some light, but I don't have enough light in some area. I gotta find a better spot. I know. I will eventually. Probably about 10 videos from now. I don't know. Another thing I would like to say is that if you have not seen season 1 recap of me talking about what happened in my breakdown and all that, you can watch my last video. Um, Also, another thing I am adding is the first one is MVP, which I'm going to say who I think is the most valuable player of this season. It doesn't have to be the winner. Could be the winner. Doesn't have to be. Um, and then the last thing I was going to do, it's a new thing. I was going to add where they are now. Um, but from this, at least from this season, they were either A, nothing has happened. They've been under radar since the season's ended. Since they had that episode, um, and then B, just a couple of them got in trouble. So I didn't want to get too much into that. But I don't know if it's just this cast or if it was because of back then there wasn't a lot of social media. So yeah, I mean, maybe again down the line I'll try this. Um, how do I say it? Where they're at now and what they've done since. And I'm gonna do this video, but moving forward, I might just hold off until later seasons. So, um, let's get to it. Okay, so first eliminated from season 2, Survivor Outback. Um, Deb. I know I looked at that. I knew what it was. Deb is. I'm not surprised she was the first off. Um, Not because she was old, because she wasn't that old, obviously, but just because it didn't seem like she fit in. I mean, she fought with Kimmy that first day. Not that Kimmy really fit in either, but you can just tell that she wasn't really getting along, not getting along, sorry, not fitting in as well. Um, I just think she wasn't able to adapt just because of her awkwardness, if you want to say. But yeah, I will say this. I do hate how people attacked her. After the fact, after the show, I feel like bef- from the time it films to the time it stops filming is when you judge people. Is when you can judge them. At the show you can see them, whatever. But anything like after the afterlife, after the show, I don't think you should be able to judge them. Now there's a couple things that have happened with a couple of these players that you can judge, just because it's so significant. But besides that, yeah, I wouldn't. I would suggest maybe don't criticize them too hard. Again, these are all older and everyone's seeing it all now. But I'm just saying, future seasons, maybe just judge them based on what's crack again. Judge them based on how they play the game and how you think they did, and not just their personal lives. I mean, is it a little weird that she dated or married? I don't know if she was married to the guy's husband and then the guy's father, and then she dated or married the. See, I don't even know what's going on. She, I think she dated his father and then married the son. I don't think she was ever married to the first guy. Um, it was a little weird. Not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna judge people. I'm not gonna like sit here and like trash talk or anything. It is let her live her life. It's the life she wants to live. So like I said, I don't really have anything new on her as of now. She just, as far as I know, she's a corrections officer in Berlin, Massachusetts, and in a men's prison. I just clearing that up. Not that it matters, but and yeah, that's pretty much all I have for her. Again, these first few people are gonna be pretty quick, just because they weren't on the show as much, or as long. So that's where I got. That's what like all I got for Deb. So going on to this next guy, Kel. Now I feel like Kel got got in. How do I say this? I feel like he didn't quite connect to people, and then when you had the lie of the beef jerky that Jerry said she said that he was eating, I think that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, and then you know I think they didn't really like that. Obviously they believed him, except for Marilyn Mad Dog, which we'll get to next. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think just all that kind of, even though Jerry obviously was lying, um, I think that just kind of it was just easy to go along with it because he was the first out on that tribe. So yeah, and then all I have from him, what's going on is I know that he had some commercials, beef jerky commercials, thanks to Jerry. I don't know how much he made off of them, maybe not much. I don't know how long he did it for. And then there was in 2010 there was like a not a reunion but like a gathering or something from season 2. I think they all got together. Maybe it was all of them. I'm not quite sure. And apparently he wasn't very nice. He's not a very nice guy in person. Which I'm not totally surprised about, but a little surprised. He seemed sort of nice on the show, but again, you only get a little snippet of the portion that he was in, which wasn't even very long. So, small portion of a small time he was on is not going to add that much. So yeah, so that's all I have about him. Marilyn Mad Dog. I thought she was a character. I thought she was definitely someone to remember. Um, the only thing I gotta say about Marilyn, aka Mad Dog, is that the older lady. You know, they just tend to kick off the older ladies. It's just easier to do. I feel like she fit in great social. Like she was. I know this sounds weird because she got voted off, but I feel like everyone liked her and like wanted to keep her around. But you also got to think about the tribe and how they're doing and how they want to compete going forward. You know, and they felt she was the weakest link on that, even though she was a very entertaining person. Um, yeah, I no, I like I said, she's a character. You know, Union show was she was definitely something. Don't know exactly the words to describe her, but she was definitely out there, entertaining. And I think that's why she's. I feel like she's known more than some of these even got farther. But yeah, as of right now, what she's doing, I'm not really sure right now, but I know in 2007 she ran for sheriff for her hometown, and then it didn't really say, but I'm assuming she didn't get it, and then now she's just retired and just lives in Virginia. She just does what Mad Dog does. Lives life. Like she said, life is too short, so I wonder if she still has that tanning bed or whatever that she has, or whatever. And yeah, so that's Marilyn Mad Dog. I don't know why I said it like that. And then we got Mitchell. Uh, Mitchell was. I was a little surprised by Mitchell. Not the fact that he got voted out because obviously he was fatigued and stuff. But I was a little surprised because he seemed like when I first was watching it, first seeing all the cast. Excuse me. seeing all the cast members and all that, I feel like he was one that could go far just because, I mean, he's tall. People were like probably gonna think that's an advantage for him for the tribe. Maybe he was able to. He wasn't buff obviously, but he had some strength to him. Um, I don't think he was gonna be the weakest link, which he wasn't. Well, kind of wasn't. But that it just all the conditions got to him, and I think he wanted it out, and he even said he would never do it again. Obviously, I mean, if you can't make it through the first time, why would you do it again? But yeah, I just think he was just. I think he probably didn't expect that much of traumatic condition. He probably knew somewhat, but you never know until you're on, I guess. Obviously, I've never been on, so I don't know. So yeah, I know I keep saying a lot. Bear with me. I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, not much to say about him. Like I said, he was. I mean, he didn't. He seemed to help out somewhat, but like you said, he was definitely not himself. Like he didn't seem fully capable of doing what he probably could have if he, was eating and had water, and which everyone would be, but it seemed to get him more than I don't know what that was. It seemed like to get him more than the others. And I don't know much about him except for the fact that he wrote a song called "Back from the Outback." It was about the season, and it was a parody of what was it? "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor, and he married his now husband Mark in 2017. Again, that's all I got. I'm not trying to dive in these people's personal lives too much. Just getting an idea where they're at now. What they did after the show, where they're at now. Like I said, we had that episode after the reunion to tell them where they went based right after the show aired. But I'm trying to give you more, but it doesn't seem like I got too much from these players, so that's why I'm going to do them later seasons when there was, Facebook, Twitter, X, uh, Instagram, Snapchat, although those two don't really have as much of an impact when it tells these stories, I don't think. So yeah, that's all I gotta say is maybe later down the road when it's more social media was more around and more active. Wow, sorry. Then I'll do this again. But yeah, for this is all I got. So so yeah, that's all I have for Mitchell. Kimmy. Kimmy. Here's what I gotta say about Kimmy. I will never understand people who go on Survivor that can't swim, are vegetarian, and don't know how to make a fire. Those are like, I mean, now you got to know how to make a fire. Like I feel like now you have to know how to make a fire. If you make it to the final four, you might have to make the fire in order to get to final three. So definitely know how to make a fire. But I feel like then swimming and the eating. Swimming is probably second least or the middle one that you need to know how to do. Because the swimming challenges, you gotta go out and fish and stuff. I guess it's up there with eating and stuff, but you gotta know how to do all that. You gotta, you're on an island. Like I don't know why you don't learn how to swim, or make fire. And then the vegetarian thing, like you have rice, but what else do you think they're gonna have? Like, of course they have chickens. Of course they're gonna have hens. Of course they're gonna have pig and all that. Yeah, you can eat fish and stuff, but you gotta know that you can't survive off of that. You're gonna need more of that, and to not want to take part in that and think it's like, which I understand. I don't want to be right there when someone chops the head off a chicken. Like that's, I mean, watching on TV is one thing, but to be there and watch it, I give that part. But to like just completely like, I mean, obviously she's a vegetarian, so she doesn't like to eat the meat, but it's one of those things where it's like she had the cow brain, I think it was some sort of brain. I think it was cow brain. She didn't eat it because she didn't want to have to go against her morals and stuff. And it's like, you're going on this show, you got to know what you're signing up for. Yes, it was season 2, and this probably aired, this probably took place as season 1 was airing or before it aired, whatever. So they might not have gotten to see it, but still, like, I have a feeling they knew what they were going to do somewhat. And you going on an island, you gonna have to know how to do some of this stuff. The cow brain, maybe I see. Who knows? There's gonna be an eating challenge, but like the other stuff, like you can only survive on so much rice, you can only survive on so much fish. You know, yeah. I don't I don't understand it. Why people do that? Why they go on if they can't swim, make a fire, a vegetarian, or have food restrictions. Um, yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me. Um, so I looked at Kimmy where she was at now and what she has done, and I saw two different things. Don't know which one is true. The first one I have is she's a bartender in Long Island, New York, and freelancing production assistant for TV commercials. Then I have another one where it says real estate appraiser. I don't know if she did both, but both said currently, so I don't think she has all three of those. Again, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I want to just give you an idea where she's at now. But yeah, I guess I don't know which one she does or which one she doesn't do. So yeah, good for her. And I'm sorry, I keep saying I'm trying to get better. I'm sorry. I keep saying sorry too. You know what? I got this. All right. Next, Michael Scubin. Oh my God, this guy. So he was definitely one of the most memorable players this season. I mean, chased down a pig, hunted him down, knifed him, gutted him, did all that. He put the uh, blood on his face. He had war paint. He was definitely very entertaining. And at first, I did not like him, like the first couple episodes. But then I got to watch him more, and I was like, this guy, I definitely know why they cast him. He's entertaining. Like, he makes people like tune into the TV. He's just one of those people who are just, you can't take your eyes off it because it's like a train wreck, but he's not really wrecking anything except for maybe the pig. So yeah, he was definitely entertaining. Obviously, he didn't make it to the merge because he got hurt. The fire definitely got him. And yeah, I would just say that, yeah, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have made it to the end or close to the end, and their tribe would have probably wiped out the other tribe. But unfortunately, these things happen. Injuries happen on Survivor, and people have to get evacuated and leave, and that's an unfortunate part of the game. Just like any professional sport, you don't wish for an injury for anybody, but it happens. You got to move on, play along, and I think that was key to Colby and his side of his tribe moving forward, just to get rid of their side mostly. So yeah, I would say him leaving definitely made an impact on the game, and him being there had an impact on the game. Like, I feel like that's like was game changing. Obviously, like, it went from Michael's tribe having the advantage to right away. Well, it was tied, but Colby's tribe ended up getting the advantage then. I don't remember the names. I was gonna write them down. I forgot, so forgive me. So yeah, for that, I don't think. I don't think that Michael would have. Sorry, I don't think that Colby and his um, tribe would have made it that far, or all of them, if Michael didn't get hurt. Now, I will say, they kind of did a smart move. They voted for Jeff, which he's the next one eliminated. They voted for Jeff because they knew he had one vote, and that cost him that tie. And when it's a tie, whoever has the most votes against them is out, and that one vote cost Jeff the game, and he left, and that was smart because they knew they were going to go for Colby, which they didn't, and he didn't have any votes against him. So yeah, that's what kind of swung it in Colby's tribe's favor. So let's talk about Jeff. Jeff. Everyone says Jerry was the villain, and yes, she was a villain, but she was like a TV villain. Jeff, I think, is just like he's just a villain. Like he's just not like a TV villain. Like I feel like his personality is a villain. Like I know that's weird to say because he was on a TV show and he played up to that character, but I don't know. I didn't like him. There was something about him that just was creepy, and I didn't like it. And like, I see why they cast him, but I didn't like the way like he played the game and all that. Not necessarily play the game, but just his mannerisms and stuff. It was just weird. I don't know. Didn't like it. Don't really how to describe it, but yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of Jeff, and wasn't a fan then. I'm not a fan now. By the way, going back to Michael Scubin, he did release. Sorry, going back to where he's now. He released an autobiography called Fireproof in 2004, and then he kind of had legal issues from 2013 to 2016, and then in 2017 he got released on parole. I'm not trying to bring in people's personal lives into this. I'm just saying where they're at right now, and obviously that was 2017. That was 8 years ago, so who knows where he's at now? Who knows what he's doing? I just doing the most recent. I saw what he did though. It was kind of like, it's just not. I don't know. There's no words for what he did, and I truly hope he. I mean, I don't know. I don't. There's no words to describe it. I'm just. Blah. Anyway, so going to Jeff. Jeff, he was on a couple more seasons. And Game Changers, though. I know I'm getting ahead, but it goes on where he's at now, so I kind of gotta say it. Game Changers, I guess he made a remark during one of the castaways, saying that, making a transgender remark, or said something about that to the transgender player, and because of that, he was fired from real estate, and he's banned from the show, I believe. Which, good. I mean, I don't know what he said because I haven't seen that season, or I don't remember that season. But that's just like, there's some things you say and use in the game, and then there's other things you don't say. Like, you can use people's emotions. I think you can use people's strategy and stuff against them, but to use like their physical ability or just like their sexual, like whatever, just to use that type of stuff against them, that's just downright rotten. And I just no words for that either, and it's inexcusable. And yeah, like I said, and I listen. I said he was creepy from the beginning. This is beyond creepy. This is disgusting. So yeah, we'll shift to Alicia, who is next. Um, Alicia, she had that iconic argument. I'm not gonna say a fight. It wasn't a fight. Iconic argument with Kimmy about the chicken. And, she was waving her finger. That iconic finger wave. um, and I mean, she was herself. You can tell she was, you know, she wasn't afraid to say what was on her mind. Neither was Kimmy. But I think that's what kind of bumped heads with them, and just they said it. They're just two personalities. They don't match well, and they're never gonna get along. And they forgive each other, but they don't forget. Kind of like with Kelly and Jerry. They forgive each other apparently, but they don't forget that. And moving on, I guess they don't talk. What's the point? Season's over, season's over, and life goes on. Um, yeah, Alicia. I mean, I don't have. It's funny because as much and entertaining as she was, I don't have much to say about her. Just like she obviously was a physical beast. She's obviously a fitness trainer. You can tell, like she she's very strong. It seems like they joked she was stronger than some of the guys, and most of the guys maybe, I don't know. And that's why she was voted off. And it seemed like she could have been a problem going into future challenges. So yeah, they had to evict her. And she is, as far as I know, a personal trainer out of New York City. Sort of. Now we're on to the good villain, if that makes sense. Jerry. Now, Jerry was someone you love to hate, but she played the game. And I like the way that she played the game. Yes, you're not going to like everybody, and yes, they're not going to always play nice. And that's what Jerry did. She played her game, and she played it evilish, but she just came out, and that was just the way she played. That's just, I can tell that's not her personality. And I know that's weird watching it and seeing it on TV as opposed to, someone knowing her and stuff. But like I said, these shows, they film 24/7, and they can only show so much. And even within that, they can only show her story, like the story they want to show her. And clearly they were making her to be the villain. And that's just, they kind of, not saying she wasn't a bad person. She's not a bad person, I don't think. It was just they made it out to kind of be that way, and a lot of people hated her. But I think, I feel like now most people understand that was just part of the game, as opposed to just being a villain-ish person. So Jerry was definitely. I mean, she had a crush on Colby. Colby didn't like her back like that. I think at first she was using her. She was using him, and then fell for him more, and then that kind of got in, kind of messy. Colby didn't want anything to do with anything more than a showmance, and it just they ended up bumping heads because they didn't want to, they couldn't work together at a certain point. They had different ideas, and then and she was close with Amber, and Colby wasn't not close to Amber, but like you could tell those two were close knit, and they probably would have taken each other to the end. So yeah, I don't feel like Jerry is a vicious person or whatever, a villainous person. I just feel like she played the game that way, and I mean, she got brought back. You know, there's a reason. Oh, excuse me. There's a reason she got brought back. So, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yes, that was Jerry, and right now she runs a winery and high class restaurant, which begs the question: did she not get into acting? I mean, I know she tried. She had a little bit of acting gigs, you know, after the show, but after the season, but like apparently didn't catch on or she didn't like it. Again, I didn't know. I couldn't find that exactly why she's not acting, but whatever, you know. Seems like she's doing pretty well. Next, we're gonna go on to a guy who might be this intelligence wise might be the smartest, but game wise lazy. He seemed lazy and he wasn't the smartest when it came to gameplay. That's right. I'm talking about Nick. I don't know why I had to look at it. Nick. Yes. Nick was the type of person that, again, they always show it, and he probably wasn't as lazy as they made him seem, but it is funny that every time they showed him, he was sitting down and not doing anything, or, you know, just hanging out, sleeping, whatever. And that was the story they wanted to tell for him. And but if you see what he's done, I'll get into that a little bit. But he's definitely not lazy, and so I think that kind of he didn't really like that, and he kind of said that at the reunion, or was it at the final episode, whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it was the final episode, but so yeah, that's what Nick was perceived as lazy. But he was good at challenge. I mean, he won. I think he won the one immediate challenge, and then he was definitely an asset to, you know, the one tribe, and I think that's why they didn't get rid of him. So as far as that goes, he was, you know, he was likable. I feel like he was likable. Yeah, they got irritated at him for being lazy, but maybe he. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't lazy, but from what I see, I feel like he wasn't as lazy as they made him out to be. I feel like they just showed that on purpose to make him tell the story. So as I was saying, Nick, this guy, probably the most impressive out of all these. Nothing, not a knock on any of the other guys, but other people. But so he is one of the youngest prosecutors in Western Washington, and the first black man to hold a position. And he was appointed by Biden. So that was literally not 4 years ago. If that, it was at least 4 years ago. Less than that, maybe. And yeah, I mean, he's went to Harvard. I mean, that's definitely not a piece of cake to get through. You know, he's definitely smart. You can tell he's got intelligence. He's just a survivor player mentality. He didn't have the survivor smarts, if that makes sense. You know, some people have book smarts and street smarts. You know, I just don't think he was. Not saying he was a street smart, but strategically he wasn't smart, if that makes sense. Next we got Amber. Well, Amber. She was. I mean, I get why she was brought back, but I also don't get why she was brought. I mean, she was definitely a nice person. You know, she seemed to play the game somewhat. She was close to Jerry, like I said. You know, they kind of blindsided her when they voted Jerry off. So that didn't tell her because they didn't believe that she would go through with the plan. Um, so I think that's kind of what distanced her from Colby in that group, and she wanted to start playing the game on her own, and you know wanting to be with Elizabeth and Roger and uh, Nick. I guess at one point he would have been Nick. Was there somebody else? Yeah. So, but unfortunately, she just Colby's tribe had the other people he was with left had more of a say, and they had more of a vote. Not more of a vote. They had more votes. Um, and yeah, she was gone. I mean, she was again. She wasn't really entertaining. Entertaining. She definitely had her moments. Um, I think later in All Star she played better, obviously, and then yeah. I mean, right now, I mean, this is probably the most obvious out of all of them. She's married to Boston Rob. They have, I think, 4 girls. I could be wrong. I know they have children. I know that it's all girls. I think it's 4. And yeah, I mean, Boston Rob's still on reality TV, so I think she stopped a while ago. So yeah, I really don't have much to say about her. It's funny because this season was, I don't want to say it was better than last season, but it was more eventful. I'll get into that. I'll get into that a little later, but it was definitely, they had like wildfires and stuff flood that washed away the camp, and you know people getting injured. It was definitely more things happening outside the game and wildlife as opposed to season 1. So next we have Roger, the island dad, I think, as they called him. He was a nice guy. You could tell he was reserved more. You can tell he kind of came out of his shell more as the season went along and stuff, and he definitely played the game with heart. He definitely was showing he was trying. I mean, jumping off that cliff when he was afraid of heights. That was, I mean, that was awesome. It's hard to say whether or not you would do that if you're afraid of heights or not. I'm afraid of heights. I don't know if I would do that for $1,000,000. I might. I don't know. I can't say if I would or wouldn't. And then that one challenge where they're all tied together and running, he was last, but they kept encouraging him and he kept running, and they ended up winning. Yeah, he might have slowed him down a little bit, but they won. That's all that matters. They ended up winning, and he tried, and he's definitely got a lot of heart, and that is a good Survivor player in my book. Somebody who keeps trying and doesn't give up. Even though he might not have been, he was good socially because he was like the dad, but like he wasn't strategic socially, like socially strategic in that aspect, isn't like making like plans or deals. Saying we're gonna go at this person, then get this person. He was just more a dad. Just there to support people, which, okay, that's fine. Wasn't gonna win in the game, but it was nice to have around. And I think he was the last of that tribe, so no, he wasn't last of that tribe. Sank the last of that tribe. And then she had to go. He had to go. So yeah. And as of right now, what he's doing is he has a huge wedding venue on his farm. So I think that's awesome. Having a wedding on a farm. Some people like that. I think that, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I gotta find a girlfriend first. Gotta get married. Yeah. Yeah. Or gotta get engaged. Now, obviously, married would be that. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so yeah, Roger, Island Dad, very likable guy. you know, but was gonna win the game. Elizabeth. She was, how do I say this? She wasn't annoying, but like not rude. Who said she was annoying from season one? Jenna. Jenna said that she was annoying, and she could stand her, and it's like I could see that. She didn't annoy me personally. No one really annoyed me except for Jeff. Jeff was the only person who annoyed me this season. Last season, most of the season, no one annoyed me until Sue with her speech at Final Trouble Council, whatever. But yeah, this season I think Jeff was more the annoying one, and it wasn't even he was annoying. Again, he was creepy. The guy was creepy. So yeah, so Elizabeth, I think she was probably the hottie on the island, and obviously that's why the cast. I mean, Amber was great looking too. Alicia was good looking. I mean, all these girls were good looking, most of them. But yeah, I don't. I mean, she didn't really. She was with people who played the game, but she didn't play the game. She was with Nick. She was with Scuba. She was with Michael Scuba. She was with Jeff. She was Alicia. The old try. Like they were with each other, but they didn't. I don't know. She didn't. I feel like she didn't play the game. I feel like she was just there to have a good time, and yeah, and she did, but I got her to fourth, but she's not gonna win the game. So yeah, I don't have much to say about her. I have more to say about her now, actually. Let's check this out. Ready? She married NFL QB Tim Hasselbeck. Made appearances in shows Ugly Betty and The Entourage. She was the host of The View and Fox and Friends until 2022. Yeah, that's her. That's like, I mean, she's been busy. She's definitely been busy. I don't know if she came back for another season, any more seasons. I wouldn't be surprised if she did, but she might be. So yeah, that's all I have on Elizabeth. Next, we got Chef Keith. Chef Keith, who Jerry made fun of his rice the first day he made, or maybe the second day, whatever. The first time he made it. And then I think he was kind of, first off, Jerry was very, very critical of everyone's cooking. I remember maybe it was Elizabeth who cooked it. Or was it Amber? One of the girls cooked it, and she was so like critical of it and whatever, and she was just sitting there not doing anything, and they're just like, then you make it. I mean, they didn't say it to her, but like in the confessional, whatever they call it, I think it's confession. That's what they called it, right? In the little interview thing, they say that just go cook it. Keep complaining, cook it. But no, she just wanted to not do anything and complain about cooking. So, which it seemed like a lot of people didn't like Keith's first batch of rice. So, and then he kept making too much later on. Colby got annoyed, which, I mean, I don't understand why you gotta go do that, make more and more, and then not have any. But they end up having enough. Sort of. We'll get to that. I'll get to. I have notes and stuff at the end. I'll talk about, but yeah, he was the chef, island chef, and I guess the first time, not a good one. And then he made something else, some sort of, I don't know. It wasn't with the French. It was something else, and it ended up being good. It was with like a dough type of thing. I don't know what it was, but everyone liked it. And he was like, "Well, can't make good rice, but he can make this." So, And now Keith is he has his own cooking show. Had his own cooking show. In the last 15 years, he's been producing human interest documentaries on PBS. So good for him. You know, he's doing pretty good. The final two. Colby and Tina. Now, this is where Colby messed up. I mean, I think he should have won anyway. Honestly, I think he did better than Tina. I'll get into that after I talk about them individually. But Colby was a good player. You know, I'll table that. Sorry, Colby was a good player. You know, he won challenges. He was strategic. He wasn't like a master, but I feel like he was the most strategic out of anyone besides Jared was kind of strategic. But yeah, Colby, like he literally won like what 7 in a row, competitions, and then he had 7 competitions, and then he literally won his way to the end, which doesn't win you the money, but we'll get to that. But yeah, he was just a beast, and he won all these challenges. He won a car. I just feel like he was unstoppable at that time, and he's just a very likable guy. You know, he was that Texan that everyone seems to like. You know, he brought his flag as tarp, which they had to get rid of eventually because they lost they ate all their rice. That's it. They ate all the rice and they didn't portion it correctly. So Jeff came and gave him rice. And they took their tarps and his flag. And then they had to build a new one, and then I'll get to that too. I know I keep saying I'll get to that. I will. So yeah, Colby, he definitely was entertaining, and he definitely played the game. I feel he played the best. And yeah, I'll get more into that in a minute. So Colby, he hosted Top Gun and Top Shot. Obviously, they must have been shows or something. And then he's played a small role in Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I don't know. Curb Your Enthusiasm has been on forever, it feels like. So don't know which season he was on. Was like 20 seasons though. Yeah, that's all I got for Colby at the moment. Tina, your Survivor 2 Outback winner. She was a good winner. She played her game the way she wanted to, and her and Colby were like this. And they played very good together. She was the likable mom on the island. You know, the whole the challenge she won. That's what the challenge she won when she had to talk to her husband. We will get into that as well. So, but that was nice of her to win that challenge. I feel like Chloe's winning a lot, and then he won the rest. But that was a good challenge for Tina to win, and I feel like that kind of helped her get to the end, like motivating her, and So again, I'll get into these two more in a minute. Right now, she had a few jobs in hospitality, and in the hospitality industry, and she loves to travel. That's all I got from her. I mean, like I said, these people were hard to find, I think, because they were so old. So it was kind of pointless for me to do that, I guess. You guys might know that, but I will do it again later, like I said, and it will be better. And I will get better at these videos, so keep watching and see my progression. and maybe that light will no longer be there. So I got points that I want to make, and then I have a couple questions to, I'm gonna answer. So first one I want to talk about is Michael's injury. That looked bad. Like that, like he. So I guess he kind of passed out from the smoke, fell into the fire. We're talking falling into like a fire. It wasn't just like a little. It was fire, and he screamed, had his eyes closed, and ran to the water and jumped in. At first, I mean, obviously his eyes got impacted, but I thought it was just his eyes. I thought maybe like something like a spark flew into his eye, and then that's what he was talking about. No, it's more you saw his arm, his hands, his arms. It was skin was off. Like that was that looked bad, and I can't even imagine what that felt like. Watching it, it hurt, you know, and that's just something that you can't predict, and that's obviously what cost him the game. So be careful when you're out there. But I know it's not his fault. I guess he passed out from smoking. I don't know if he was hot or if the smoke passed him out. I guess I don't quite understand that. But I think it was the smoke. Smoke on his face and he passed out then, and then he fell into the fire. Yeah, that's probably what it was. So yeah, I mean, obviously it sucked. Everyone was supportive around the tribe mates. It's there. It's a game, but it's also everyone's going through the same thing. So, to see that happen to an entertainer and a great player, who I felt like could have won this if you made it past that, to the merge, because it would have been 6-4 instead of 5-5 in favor of his tribe. But like I said, these things happen. What do we got next? Oh, Jerry had a crush on Colby. Colby didn't. Yeah, I kind of covered that. I know they talked about how he hate each other now and all that, but I feel like Jerry hates him now because he didn't like him. He didn't like her back, and I feel like that was kind of like. I feel like that was kind of what bothered her a lot, and you could tell that it was getting in her head, and she couldn't handle it anymore, and I feel like while she was on the island, she had to kind of entertain herself some other way and get him out of her head. So I'm doing a list of notable players now. I made one for season 1. I'm not gonna go over because it's what, I will go over it in a minute. I know. Oh, I don't have it right now. I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll do it next video. I'll tell you the season 1 notable players. But notable players. Now these are players that are rememberable. They don't necessarily have to be good. They don't necessarily have to be the best players. Just people, when you think of this season, you think of these players. First one's Colby. He's going to be on Survivor 50. So good luck to him. Then you got Jerry, obviously. Then we got Tina, the winner. All 3 of these players came back and played again. Michael. I mean, who doesn't remember a guy who caught a pig, knifed him? We got Marilyn Mad Dog. Now this one is, and then we got Jeff. We got Jeff. I think he was memorable just because he was creepy, even though he's not really memorable. I don't know. He kind of seemed memorable because he was creepy and stuff. Came back for other seasons. I thought seemed like notable. Obviously, we saw that happen, but Marilyn Mad Dog, I feel like she's, for being second out, she might be memorable just because of her personality and just because she and likes her and stuff. And again, I watched these pretty fast. I watched these within 3 days or so. So I kind of remember it now, just going back. But I don't know. I feel like she still would be memorable. If people ask who was on season 2, someone might think of her quicker than maybe even Jeff, maybe even Tina. Now that maybe even, I don't know, Michael maybe. But yeah, so that's my notable players. Okay, so the camp, they decided to build their camp on the sand, near the water, not right near, close to the water, instead of in the trees, the forest, kind of where there's, up more in, not where, if it were to flood. Newsflash, it did. Then the camp winter got washed away. But hindsight's 2020. They built it there. Camp got washed away with the flood, and they were able to salvage some stuff. They were able to retrieve that rice that they had to get, that they just gotten from Jeff because of they couldn't portion it right. So getting that rice was huge for them. And they were able to, no, that was after Jeff took the rice. Like I said, they were able to have to build a top with those branches. I didn't really see what it looked like, the new one, after they just went away. I know they slept on the grass, obviously, and stuff, but yeah. So with that, that's yeah, they slept in the trees. Not in the trees, they slept by the trees and stuff. The loved one challenges. Okay. Or the loved one challenge. So the loved one challenge is what we're talking about. Tina won it. I like these challenges. I don't know when they start doing it, but I like when they bring the family members on and they help them in the challenge. And then they get to see them. And I love that. I wish they would bring that back. I just think that's a great. I think it's awesome. One of the family members you get to fly out, be on an island for a couple days, or maybe not a couple days, but we're probably there for a couple days to get on. But once you're on the island, you're there for a little bit. You get to see, even if you don't win, you get to compete a little bit and say, hey, I competed with so and so, with my son, with my brother, with my daughter, with my mother, whoever, my father. I got to compete with them on Survivor, even though you didn't win. They saw that, and I think that's great. I feel like that's great. It's just, I love that. I wish they would bring that back. Jeff, if for some reason you watch this, bring that back. Not the bad Jeff Probst. I don't care what this Jeff thinks. Night challenges. First 2 seasons, we've had at least one night challenge. I like these night challenges. They should also bring these back. I just think it's cool to see them. Again, I don't know how, Jeff's more popular now. He probably doesn't want to go out at night, but I feel like having one of these night challenges, like one a season. You just need one a season. Make it good, make it, I don't know, whatever. Just make it fun, enjoyable to watch. Whatever you have to do, but I feel like night challenges are definitely, I feel like one a season would be good too. Like those, bring those back, even if it's like not with tribes, if it's individual, which this one wasn't. Was this one individual? The first one was tribes. This one, I can't remember. This one was individual. I just watched it. What was the challenge? I can't think of it. Wow. I think it was individual though, the night one. So yeah, the night challenges, bring them back, one every season. And then one thing I'm glad they don't do anymore, saying goodbye to the fallen survivors. They go through this long thing, talk about them real quick. Actually, they don't really talk about the early seasons. They just go through it real quick and show them their face and stuff. And it's like I don't really care that much about them. You know, if they were that memorable, I would remember them. You know, I don't need shouldn't be able to have to go through this to remember them. But I kind of get it. They just do it to show respect, whatever. I don't know. It was just a little thing they did, which they don't do anymore. Like I said, I'm glad they don't. That's one thing they can keep away. So yeah. And the Home from the Outback episode kind of touched on this. I kind of liked. I didn't know this was an episode. I didn't know this was a thing. I don't know how many seasons they did this for, but when I first started watching Survivor, they didn't do this. So don't know how long it lasted. But it was kind of nice to see how they did right after Survivor. You know, like right as it aired and what people thought of them. I thought it was interesting. You know, wasn't much to say. You know, they all had their personal lives. They had their all. You know, getting sad what Deb had to go through, but can only touch on that so much. And yeah, and then I have a couple questions here, and this is where we get into the Colby Tina situation. Did we have a good winner? We had a good winner. Did she deserve to win over Colby? I do not think she deserved to win over Colby. Now, here's the thing. Colby and Tina had similar strategic games. I couldn't really tell them apart. So in that instance, you go on challenges, on competitions. And Colby obviously won way more than Tina. And that's why I think Colby deserved it more. Now, Colby should have taken Keith. He would have an easier path. Probably would have won. But I think in Colby's mind, and he said it, he's like, even though he was really driven to win the money, he said, you know what, I'm going to take somebody that I have a harder chance to beat and play with the person who was my number one. And whatever happens, happens. I'm okay with it. As opposed to bringing someone who he knew he could win against, which, respectful, but it's like, come on, man, you try this hard just to... I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, Tina was a good winner. She played a good strategic game. But I just think Colby played a similar strategic game, and he won challenges. In that instance, I think challenges come into play. Challenges don't necessarily come into play. It's not just about challenges, but just because they had similar strategic gameplay is where I think that came into play. Whatever. And then was it a better jury? I don't really think it excuse me. I don't think it was a better jury like Sue. However, I'm a little suspicious about Jerry. I still think she was a little annoyed at Colby that he didn't like her back. That maybe it was to get him back and vote for Tina. Again, I don't know that. I'm not saying it was. I just have my suspicion. That's something I did not look into. If you guys know, comment. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. This breakdown. So hope you liked it, and see ya.